Lew Yates had arrived in London during the 70s to fight bare-knuckle legend Roy Shaw. But delays surrounding the bout resulted in him trying to maintain order in the jungle that was the Essex nightclub scene.
I was living in Lancashire and I heard on the radio that Roy Shaw wanted to fight anybody in the country. So I fancied that. And so I rung my mate up in London, in Essex, Forest Gate, and can you get it sorted out? I'll come down tomorrow and fight him tomorrow. Because I was really fit and everything, so anyway, he said, yeah, come down, but we won't be able to sort out that quick. So I come down to London in about 76, I think it was. And, but I couldn't, when I got down there, I realised I had to have 10 grand back in and all this and the other, which I didn't have. And I started working on the doors. I started with a room at the top in Ilford, working under Peter Costa and that. I worked there for about 4.5 years. One night there was a bit of a do at the end of the night, and then it all started with Billy's lot, because there was a lot in there, Billy's. All Billy's blokes who worked on the ice cream vans and all that type of crap. Anyway, ended up, I was doing Billy, his head down, bump, and then I got a double mug on my head, split my head down to the skull, and I went loopy then. Absolutely, I feel the blood, so and I ended up doing Billy and about 7 of them all together. And even in the lift, I was after the big fellas with a knife. They were all pulling back, you just see their eyes, and lads were saying, oh, who holding me back? These crotchy lads who I used to work out with and that.
Another club Lew Yates worked at was Lautrec's in Dagenham, where he gave the notorious West Ham United football hooligan Carlton Leach his first job working the doors.
So I was on the door at Lautrec's, and then this young guy come up to the door, asked about any work and all that, and I said, well, I'll try you out, which I always did. I'll give you a couple of weeks, see how you go. And then somebody said that he was handy and all this, that and the other. So I put him on the door, and he worked on the door for a while for me. But I remember one instance, and he remember this. There was a big crowd on the pavement was rowing with, and the bouncy one come towards Carlton. Carlton had a duster on, done him, split him like he had 2 mouths. And Carlton, the bloke carried on walking towards him. So I went in between them. So I said to him, now fuck off. I said, because I hate you, you go to sleep. And I said, you're spitting blood on me now. You're spitting blood on me. Stop, bang. He's gone. And I turned to Carlton and said, that's how you do it, Carlton.
In 2008, I wrote a book about former boxer Lew Yates. After witnessing the adoration being bestowed upon his father, Lew's 24-year-old son Billy asked if I would write his biography. He was annoyed and disappointed when I explained that he hadn't done anything in his life that was worthy of a book.
Hello people, it's Billy Boy Mind earlier, and I'm just letting you know that my book will be out March, April next year.
Undeterred, starstruck Billy created a fictitious life story in which he became a respected and feared villain.
The sexiest sound in the world.
Billy not only talked the talk, he posed with known villains to authenticate his claims, and overnight he began to walk the walk.
There's only one book for me. That's this. See that? Proper book.
Billy Boy became Bully Boy, threatening and intimidating innocents because Billy believed that's how his heroes behaved.
I just wished he'd learned from me and said not to knock about with certain people and things like that, and don't ever underestimate people, and never trust anybody really in a way, especially in that groupie type field, you know what I mean?
What sort of people are they? You know?
Oh, scumbags that I'd give a good hiding to. He used to say to me, Dad, do you know such a body? I said, yeah. He said, they know you and all this, that and the other. He said, you give them a good hiding years ago. I said, yeah, they're assholes. What are you doing with them? They're no good. They're only assholes. You know, well, you want them round you. You want decent people around you. You know what I mean? Successful people around you, not that type of people, you know what I mean? That got no aim in life or nothing else, you know what I mean? Well, he ended up, didn't he, getting murdered. A very cowardly thing, attacked from behind. and then chased after young Lewis to kill him as well. He was only 14.
14.
Yeah, Lily was 5.
They
His
were
little
both
girl.
with Billy.
Both with Billy on the land. Billy had some land with all animals on and that. Yeah, and yeah, he was your mate. He'd come up there, but he'd argued over money that he owed Billy, and he was on the old gear and all, and the steroids, and they'd had a row, and Billy come in, and there's 2 of them there. Billy said, "I thought he's coming on your own." He went, "Nah," and then he was coming round. Billy's mate Paul, he sat there, and next minute, with a heavy knuckle duster, he's gone behind like Billy. Billy's totally relaxed on like that on the table, evidently. And he's just crack, and Billy shouted out, "You fucking some other," right? He didn't knock him out straight away. He knocked him out, so his head's on the table. And then he turned around Paul, so-called pickaxe envelope. He took it off Paul, battered him. Big bite mark there, absolutely battered all over he was. His knees, everything. And then he turned around and hit Billy. His head was on the table 3 times, the scientist said at the trial. And killed him, just, you mean, his eye sockets and everything. It was bad news. And then, when he'd done that, Lewis, young Lewis, his lad, 14-year-old, saw him. He saw him doing it. Imagine how that feels, seeing your dad being done like that. And then he chased after Lewis, but he's going down. Lewis hid under a caravan, petrified, and he's shouting, "Where are you, bastard? I'm going to kill you as well." And he thought he'd killed Paul, killed Bill, and he was going to kill him. And he walked past the caravan with little Lily in, and little Lily was just crying and screaming, evidently. Yeah.